Chapter 6, Function Definitions versus Function Prototypes. One of the first things you're going to notice here in the demos is the very first demonstration I have of functions is where the function definition goes first. So what that means is, and I'm literally talking structurally from top to bottom here, right? Is that if I have a function for convert to decimal, or if I have a function for convert to Celsius, I have another function for convert to Fahrenheit, whatever the case might be, we have, before we get to main, we have the full and complete function definition listed there. The next example you see here is where we just have a function prototype listed up on top. So what does that mean? That means we have a function name, and we have whatever the past value type is. So I would have something like a convert to Celsius, or I would have a void convert to Celsius. If you're just doing the calculation, I might have a float convert to Celsius if you are doing something that has a return type to it. And just hold tight on the idea between a void and a return type. That's the very next video here. So a function prototype is just the name of the function, its return type. So int if it's returning an integer, double if it's returning a double, string if it's returning a string, void if it doesn't return anything. And then, inside of the parentheses would be the list of parameter types that you are passing it. So int, or double, double, or string, string. You do not have to, in a function prototype, include, string first name, string last name, int Fahrenheit temp, int Celsius temp. That is not what you need to do there. It's called a prototype for a reason. It is just enough so that during compile time, the environment says, oh, hey, look, I've got a reference to a function. That function is going to be named the following, convert to Celsius, convert to Fahrenheit, whatever the case might be. And then it does not have to go through and actually, run any of those parts. It can actually get main up and running before the rest of everything else can be up and running, so that you might save a little bit of time. That's one way to do it. The other way to we already talked about, which was the full function definitions on top. The benefit to having the fully defined function on top is as follows. The logic there goes, you are going to stop putting everything in main anyway, and we're going to start to focus on all of these functions. So why bother putting main up top? It's not even that important. It's just the driver for the program. Fine. The other school of thought says put those function prototypes up top. So you're going to need convert to Celsius. You're going to need convert to Fahrenheit. And you're going to have to pass it an integer. But look, I'm just getting a program together so I can test it and get it to work properly later on. In that case, it kind of gives you a, not a get out of jail free card, but it gives you a I'll develop it later free card, where you can say, look, I know I'm going to need to convert that to Celsius, but for the life of me, I cannot remember, is it 5/9? Is it 3/5? What's the math? It's scary. I want to do it later. Fine, do it later. You would simply put the rest of the function definition after main, but you can have the function prototype up there and proceed with your development so that it doesn't, prevent the application from compiling. So those are the two types of examples you are going to see here. Is going to be with a fully fleshed out function definition, and the next is going to be with a prototyping example. So those are the two things to look forward to here. You'll notice that the programs are very nearly identical because they're just two different ways of thinking about the same thing. But it's one of the things that really trips up students here when you're learning to develop this way is, you know, do I pick this one? Do I pick that one? And the answer is, as long as you pick one, just stick with it and you'll be fine.